Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Switch for Good podcast. Here we are again, Alexandra, Paul, I'm Dotsie Bausch, and we are now on our second, or wait, let me do that over because we're just going to do the second. We're not going to do welcome to the thing. Okay, sorry, sisters, we're just doing this over. It's normally how, okay, all right, we'll just come in with a second. Okay, I'm going to start over. Okay, Alexandra, that was amazing and so excited for our second duo, like I mentioned before. We are super excited and delighted to have Meg and Komi Vora, also known as the Vora sisters, on the show to give us a lesson in fashion and how to apply these amazing fabrics, vegan fabrics that people like Adrian are making. Meg and Komi's line of luxury women's apparel is called Delicate Rain and has completely set a new standard for the industry, not only in its modern design, but in its adherence to ethical and sustainable business. And I first got to meet the Vora sisters at the Legends of Change book launch party. We did a panel there in front of the audience that was there for the launch of the book. And these two are just, they're fire starters for change and for goodness, and they are articulate, and they really are true game changers in fashion disruption, right? You guys are trying and successfully disrupting the animal-based fabric industry. So we are really excited to have you on, talk about what y'all do.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to be here.
So cool. So when we were at that book launch party, I remember a question that started with you guys in just your beginnings. I mean, this is not nowadays anyway, it will be in 20 years, but this isn't like a typical industry to just fall into. So totally. How did you guys first have this idea? I mean, what was your journey into vegan fashion?
So, it starts with our upbringing. So we were raised on a duo base of Jainism and Hinduism. And Jainism, for those that are not familiar, is a lifestyle that really focuses on the principles of ahimsa, which translates to nonviolence towards any living beings. So it was kind of just like the standard that was really ingrained in us from the get-go. And Hinduism also has like a lot of ties to compassion. We were raised vegetarian, so we've never even tasted meat. And Jainism really, really teaches you how to take animals and the planet out of the equation in your daily life. So our grandma wouldn't even eat like potatoes, onions, carrots, garlic, because all that cuts the root. And she just really taught all of us that you need to be very mindful on the way you consume. And so, as we would continue growing up and whatnot, we kind of realized that there's other areas that allowed us to really bring compassion into our life. And we wanted to do that, not only through our diet, but makeup or clothing, accessories, stuff like that. And I'll let Komi take the second half of this.
So the thing is, it was always diet-based, right? Like that's how we were practicing our lifestyle, and that really identified with us. And although, like Meg said, Jainism does advocate for not using animals in other areas in your lifestyle with like clothing and beauty and all that actually, even though we knew that, we didn't identify with it. It didn't really resonate with us in the beginning. So we were just only practicing the food aspect. And then as we started, getting older and we were shopping for, you have that time in your life where we all love the luxury items, like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all that kind of stuff. And so the more we would like shop and see these things, it just kind of dawned on us, and we're like, why is it that when we're shopping, why is luxury always affiliated with an animal-derived skin?
Yeah, or silk, wool.
Right, exactly. And so we started questioning these things, and just a light bulb clicked, and we're like, we love the aesthetic and the craftsmanship and the quality of these products, but we started feeling guilty for liking that, knowing that it is coming from an animal skin. And once you really start understanding like what the process is behind that, it's mind-blowing.
So we just kind of saw that opportunity then to like contribute in a more meaningful way without compromising our own style, aesthetics, and taste.
Yeah, we wanted to bring life and existence into something that didn't exist.
What did you uncover in terms of what you just said? Once you really know what goes on, it's mind blowing. Many of us, and including our listeners, know what goes on in the food industry. But what did you uncover? I don't think I've ever gone that deep. I know Alexandra has, but I've never really gone that deep. Although I buy vegan stuff because I'm aware it comes from animal, but I don't really know what goes on behind closed doors.
So there's a big misconception that any product that's leather or wool or silk, right? It's a byproduct, and that's not true. It's actually a co-product
of the meat industry and whatnot. Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that it's more profitable for animals to be sold as hides and skins for fashion than it is for meat. Like the profit margins for meat are really, really slim. It's maybe like $3 a head. But if you go into hides for fashion, you're not only able to make a lot more money, but you can sell more. And so people tend to want to use it for that, and they raise the animals solely for that. And then if they can make the sales for meat off of it, great. But if not, then they would rather just retain it and sell it to the highest bidder for fashion.
Yeah, and the animals that are sacrificed in the process, it's just there's like slaughterhouses just for the fashion industry.
In 2019, they did a study and they realized that there was 1 billion animals that were slaughtered just for fashion. And that goes not only into clothing, but into accessories, shoes, any leather goods. So just the entire industry in general. And it's when you think about that, people really see the connection between meat and, the cruelty, but people don't realize that it's the exact same, if not worse, conditions for animals when it comes to fashion as well.
Is this that those 1 billion, their meat is also used for food also, and that 1 billion contributes their leather, their skin?
So the study that they did was for animals solely for fashion. So it was like these 1 billion animals were slaughtered for the fashion industry, because there is everyone knows obviously like the fur aspects and how cruel that is, and the inhumaneness that goes with that. But people really, I think, are green when it comes to the leather concept, and they don't realize that leather is much more in demand than fur is, because you don't even realize how many other places you're using leather that can be quote unquote falling under the fashion industry umbrella, which includes like the interior, even in your car if you're driving a luxury vehicle, or the insole of sneakers. Your sneakers may be nylon, rubber, synthetic materials, but a lot of times your insole is made out of leather, and that just gets lost on people.
And it's so that I was mentioning this before, I was in a shop on Sunday that had a lot of Italian leather, and they had shoes, and I was asking if they had anything without animal leather. And then I found this one, and it was denim. It was really cute, and just like kind of a rope bottom and denim shoe and, shoestrings. I was like, I found it. And I put my hand in, and the interior is animal leather. I thought, what on God's earth? You can't even see it, people. Like, why would you? It doesn't need to be this way. Yeah.
What kind of skin is used for leather for the fashion industry? I'm hearing that's not just cows, that it might be animals that we don't eat.
Yeah, there's sheep, lamb, pig. You can get into like exotic leathers. So there's like ostriches,
alligators,
snakes.
And I think we have to remember feathers too, because I have even finding cat toys for my cat. You just have to check the feathers if you're vegan to make sure they're not real. Because feathers also is part of.
Yeah, and I think that's what, a long time ago when we didn't know any of this stuff, I used to think, my warm Patagonia coat, and it has feathers, and it's like, the feathers just fall off the birds. They just pick them up as they run around in their wild habitat. And no, the truth is, ladies, let me know if I'm right, most of the time, 90% of the time, these birds are live plucked.
Yes. It's 100% true.
So we
And
don't need-
go ahead. I was just going to say that, like, even if you look at some of the footage that's been undercover and shown with the videos, it's insane.
Truly.
What goes on, behind the scenes.
I mean, that's even in bedding too, right? Goose down comforters and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So once you start going down like the rabbit hole, you start realizing how many places are actually using animal skins. And I think that we are at a great time right now because conscious consumerism is increasing more and more so than ever. I mean, you can just look at the diet in general and see how many people are transitioning into diet. And I think now, even with like retail, a lot of people are starting to really question things and ask questions on like who's behind the product, because it's one thing with animals, but there's also the people that are making it that are suffering in the process as well. The tannery workers are actually, there's so many health conditions that they're exposed to, and a lot of them are children as well overseas, and their life expectancy is not even going to be even 50 years old.
There's a lot of layers. So it's like one thing to take, animals out of the equation, but then when you go into like the sustainability side for the planet, and then also like the ethics, it literally just goes into what is the cost of my garment, how many lives have suffered in the process. Mm-hmm. And it can get completely overwhelming for sure, but I think it's about taking those baby steps, not shaming people, really just providing awareness and like education, having these conversations. Like, we're so thankful for you guys for, having this platform and spreading this knowledge, allowing us to come on here and speak about it, because that's the way you can make an impact, I think.
Your father was the Jain, your mother was Hindu, and they both practice a sort of an awareness of cruelty to animals. But you were vegetarian, so you had maybe eggs and dairy in your diet?
Yes.
Yes.
I heard you tell a story about your dad, because Jainism is about nonviolence towards all beings, that he would wear, and this is particularly apt now, he would wear a mask when he went into the temple so that he didn't by mistake inhale any insects or anything like that. Has your now, but he was vegetarian, is that what I'm hearing? So
Yes.
have you moved him and your mother to veganism with this new knowledge that you gained as you grew older?
So I would say they're like 95% there.
Yeah.
They don't consume any sort of milk products and like stuff like that, the dairy. But I think what really just sometimes gets to them is Indian cooking is so full of ghee, and that's such a staple for them. And so I think they're trying to, find the line that they can cross for that. But
there was one game changer moment that we were so proud of. He used to drink a glass of milk every night before he went to sleep, and now he does not do that, and he only drinks plant-based milk. So we're like, yay!
That's a lot. That's 365 glasses a year. That's a lot. That really helps those cows. So thank you. It makes a difference.
And with us, they're always eating vegan too. We've introduced like so many new recipes and restaurants to them. Our mom's an amazing cook, and so it's really cute that she'll make all these like vegan options for us now, and they'll eat it too. And so, we're all learning together.
I want to ask you guys about, as it relates to inhumane practices with human beings, what do you guys think of fast fashion?
Can you define fast fashion?
Well, I mean, I'm very studied on it because I watched an episode by Hassan Minhaj, so it was like a 30-minute thing on fast fashion. I mean, I was aware, but so it's basically where it's produced and how it's produced, and a lot of child labor is used because it is fast fashion, so is as quick and as economical, right, as cheap as they can possibly get it to the consumer to then sell for something. So it's like Zara.
It's like Forever 21. I mean, the really big ones like in our vicinity are like Boohoo, Misguided. Those are like the really big online retailers. I think more so now than ever, fast fashion's just taken a whole new face, because online, direct to consumer, I mean, you can't even beat that, right? So I just think that, to go back to your original question, it's like, I understand in terms of the accessibility, and price points, and not everyone is in the same, range to afford certain things. However, going back to what you were saying in terms of like how many styles are being produced, the fabrications being used, the way that it's being produced, those are all horrible things that no one, if they really knew, I think would willingly want to support. But it always just goes back to the fine line between how can I get what I want at the price that I want, and what am I willing to like sacrifice for that?
And it's actually interesting too, because even though initially the price point might be more appealing to someone, in the long run, you're going to be replacing that garment a number of times. So it's just better to invest in a better piece and have it for longer. The lifespan on it is just way longer than an $8 t-shirt,
Yeah.
So tell our listeners how they, and our viewers, how they can tell what fast fashion is, and what would be the difference between, besides price point, and why they shouldn't. What you mentioned something that it's horrible. Is it child labor and waste, or what's going on?
Yeah, so a lot of times they overproduce styles just to kind of see, just let's like hurry up and just use every single roll of fabric that we have for one style. Let's throw it out there and see what happens. But if it isn't sold, a lot of times they're either burning the inventory or they're just throwing it away. And by that, we mean putting it in landfills. And because it's made out of fabrications that aren't sustainable, they're just rotting there, taking up space. A lot of times what ends up happening is because of the type of material it's made out of or the way that it's been made, a lot of times these workers are paid per piece. So people are in such a hurry to make their quota, things are missed and whatnot, and you end up with a garment that may have the wrong type of stitching, something's a little wonky, so you wear it 3 times and it ends up falling apart. And then what are you going to do? If the factory's not throwing it away, you're throwing it away now.
And just to piggyback on that, on the manufacturing side, if they don't meet certain quotas because it's on such high demand, they're not getting paid. So these workers are then dealing with like a financial struggle, and then just psychologically, it's just really detrimental to them, because they feel like basically if they're working for nothing.
Yeah.
Where are these workers mostly?
A lot of
Bangladesh.
in third world countries, like Vietnam, a lot of them are in Bangladesh, India, China, Thailand. But to answer your original question in terms of like how people might be able to like make more conscious choices and whatnot, I think it's really about educating yourself on what, and like you, Dotsie, went on to say what fast fashion actually is, and then look to see what kind of companies fall into that line. Like we all can sit here and talk, name names, and we're not trying to point fingers, to call anyone out. However, I think that when people know what the companies stand for and what their manufacturing practices are, they can get a lot more insight into what they're buying into. There's an app people can download. It's called Good On You, and it really traces the transparency and the ethics and sustainability on different companies, and it also shows like their commitment to taking animals out of the equation along with the planet. There's actually one other one that I wrote down. Oh yeah, okay. It's called Not My Style, and this one also talks about this one's more about the manufacturing side. So it really goes into the type of workplace and environment the employees have and what their quotas are, what that workplace looks like, what the conditions are in these factories and whatnot.
And the app is kind of cool too. Well, good for you. I know. I'm more familiar with that. Good on you.
Good on you.
Is that they kind of go down the breakdown. So if you're unsure of, maybe you're wanting something that's sustainable and vegan and, fair labor practices and all that, they grade each company. So it's like they've went in there and done the work. So then if you resonate with those ethics, then you can just go to that website and just shop with them and be more familiar with brands that you relate to.
Yeah, because another thing I will add is a lot of people, and it's great, we all have to start somewhere, but a lot of people do think that if something's cruelty-free or if it's vegan, then it automatically means that it's eco-friendly and ethical.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case.
And obviously there's a difference between cruelty-free and vegan as well.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay. Tell us more. Hold on.
So cruelty-free is basically meaning that it's not tested on animals, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't derive of animal skin.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
So if it's cruelty-free and vegan, that means it's not tested on animals and it does not contain any animal ingredients.
Is that per the licensing, the marketing laws that say that if you say you can say cruelty-free if it's not tested, but there can be animal ingredients? Who made that?
Yeah. So that's so what she's talking about is really, really prevalent in beauty and skincare industries, and that's kind of I don't want to say it's the loop around, but a lot of people just automatically look at that and think, yes, not tested on animals, which is a great place to start, obviously. But then once you go deeper and you realize, oh, wait, this isn't cruelty-free, but it has collagen in it. So that means that it's not vegan.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but
I don't think they realized that, getting the collagen wasn't very nice. Certainly
how they got that. Shall we even just talk about? Well, so speaking of not my style, let's talk about your all's style and the style of Delicate Rain. And Kendall Jenner and Rachel Zoe and Daniela Molay and all sorts of stars have worn your clothes and worn your fashion. So describe what Delicate Rain is and the experience people have with the style when they wear it. What do they say to you? How do you ladies like to describe what it looks like?
Our motto is the triple E factor. So we consider, if anyone's what's the aesthetic of your clothing line, it's the triple E, which is edgy, ethical, and everlasting. Okay. So it's a more, a more forward, edgier way of dressing. Okay. But we really, really focus on our craftsmanship. That's why being luxury, we wanted to redefine what luxury was, but using animals out of the equation. And so we really focus on our craftsmanship along with the style. And it's everlasting because since we work on the craftsmanship, it's more longevity of the product.
I think, it's also about the confidence someone gets when they wear it, knowing that they're not compromising any type of ethics or personal beliefs for style, and they're doing something good by wearing it. It's you looking good, and in turn you feel good, and you also know that every time you're purchasing one of our products, it's this added bonus gift with purchase. Not only are you, it's we want to attract you with the style first, but then when you put it on, you're oh wow, I'm also saving animals with this. I'm also saving the planet. This is amazing.
Yeah. And we never came out to be a made by vegans for vegan only company. We always tried to talk to people that, with the vegan community is awesome and it's great, and they're always going to resonate with what we're doing just because we all are, we all understand the morals and the ethics behind the product, but it's really making a difference in talking to the people that don't live this lifestyle and just having a conversation with them and just kind of letting them take that knowledge from there. And what we hope for is just kind of teaching them what we know, and then they can have more mindful decisions the next time they're shopping, whether it's with us or anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some of your stuff, and I know it's on your site. I read that you guys like to describe it as captivating wildcat temptress is one way that you can describe it. And you have a lot of lace and satin. And I have just hit the point in my life where I was shopping with my husband on Sunday and we went past the store and he's like, oh, do you want to go in there? And I found myself saying, I was like, no, that's like teenage stuff. And I've just hit that where I'm starting to notice like, oh, you can't really get away necessarily with like the thing that the 20-year-old can wear. Like that's not. So do you have clothes for us is what I'm asking.
I think that's all in your mind. Yeah, it's all in your mind.
You just wait. You wait.
You know?
I saw some clothes for us.
Incredible. Both of you do.
Yeah. I saw a really nice dress with sort of a chiffon skirt, and then chiffon. Was that right? Was it chiffon? So you could sort of see the legs were see through, but
The sheer, yeah.
sheer. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Dotsie, you looked amazing.
I think chiffon just dated you. Like I don't even know. Do they even know what that is?
Yeah, what is chiffon anyway?
You know what? I remember some things that I think you guys might enjoy. It's very like, imagine yourself when we can actually all travel again, you know, being at a resort, laying on the beach. We'll hook you up, you know.
Okay. I think we need to go and have like a personal
Dressing
with them.
session.
Like
yes.
we're just gonna have to.
We'd love to anytime. Yes, let us know.
Tell us about your vegan leather, the faux leather, because you know when I got married, I wore a dress that was not silk because it was a designer dress, but I had to tell the designer you can't make it out of silk. So she made it out of something. It wasn't cotton. It was something. And somebody wrote to me and said I was a big fat hypocrite because I was wearing basically plastic and I wasn't. And so I wrote back and I said, you know, I get it, but I'm weighing and my animal cruelty came out ahead as my priority. And that's what the decisions that we have to make as ethical people. We're always weighing. So tell us about your faux leather, because a lot of times that involves plastics and things like that.
100%. And so as we continue to sort, so here's what's really interesting. When a lot of these innovative textiles come out, and by that I mean the newer ones in the market, like the one cactus leather, I'm sure you guys heard of that. And then, you know, mushroom, there's leather that's, you know, coming out that's going to be made out of coffee, tea leaves, fermented tea, a bunch of things. It's easier to get a certification for accessories or shoes versus apparel. So as we, you know, wait for stuff to get apparel grade, we started using leathers that were completely PVC free. So that goes into the whole plastic thing because, yeah, obviously that's a huge toxin and whatnot. And any leather that we do use right now meets like the EPA guidelines. So it's, you know, deemed sustainable. It's not gonna fill up your landfill and create like a bigger problem. You know, you don't want to jump from a sinking ship to a burning ship. So that's like where we're at right now. And as things become more readily available for apparel grade, we're making the switch.
Yeah, like as fast as you can get it in, I would imagine, as it becomes apparel grade.
Yeah, because then there's also like the whole thing in terms of like the fluidity, like how does it move? Is it flexible? Because a lot of times, even if stuff becomes apparel grade, it may not be the right texture for a certain type of fit. And so these are all things that you're like trial and erroring, you know?
Yeah, because you can envision a garment to look a certain way and then you test the fabric and it just doesn't translate.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you use instead of silk? Because that's I don't know.
And why should people not buy silk? Because I mean, you know, there's a lot of vegans that don't even realize what they do. So if you could share that and then answer what she said.
I think the short answer for that, without getting like too into
graphic.
it, is that too graphic, is that they boil the silkworms. So silk is made out of actual like silkworms, and then they boil them to make
while they're alive.
While they're alive. So so it's kind of like lobster. I mean, it's just right into the boiling pot alive.
Yeah.
And then that's how and then the silk, how does that bring the silk out? I've never seen the process.
Well, it's in the worm is surrounded by the cocoon,
right?
And so, why does the water have to be?
Well, where does the silk come from? Does it the boiling does what? Brings the silk out? It just pops out on top of the water, or how does it get out?
Yeah. I don't know why they have to kill. Why don't they just unwrap the silk and then take the worm out and let it go? Like they do.
I think it's just easier
like
probably
honey.
to.
I mean, you don't have to kill all the bees generally to get honey. So why not? I mean, I'm not for honey either, actually, as a vegan. So.
There's there's like a lot of different controversies with that because a lot of people believe in ahimsa silk or peace silk because they're saying that there's like an ethical process to go to what you were saying where you might just be able to remove the worm without, killing it. But I think in terms of silk for massive quantities and these bigger corporations that are using it, something like a Zara maybe or an H&M, like it's just not feasible for them to one by one individually take something out. You just want to get this mass quantity, throw it in and be done with it. Mm-hmm. And that just goes back to the whole ethics thing then too.
Right.
So
where's your company? Where can people get your products and see your clothes?
So right now we're primarily direct to consumer. So it is online, which is at delicaterain.com. We do have a few select retailers, but the easiest way is to just look online.
Terrific.
And then it's important for people to know it's Delicate, spelled DELIKATE, and then Rain, RAYNE. And can you guys explain why it's spelled that way? It's kind of a cool reason.
So basically, Delicate Rain means what both of our names mean put together in Hindi. So my name means delicate, and the reason we changed it to a K is for Comey instead of a C. And then Rain is what Meg's.
And Rain just couldn't be basic if we were changing.
Right. We had to post everything.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing, revolutionizing fashion and luxury fashion and teaching us about how important it is for us not just to eat in a way that is compassionate and good for the earth, but also wear clothes that are compassionate and good for the earth. Yeah. So thank you.
And where are you guys? Are you guys located downtown LA or are you closer down to Orange County where you were raised?
No. So we're in downtown and we're in West Hollywood now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I just got to figure out where I'm coming to be able to get fitted for my Okay.
Yes,
amazing.
For that sheer skirt we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I want them to help me.
Personal stylists and shoppers for the day.
Yay! You heard it here, folks. All right.
Thank you,
and thank you so much for what you both do as well.
It's so inspiring.
Oh, we're all in it together, right? Ladies, we're fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for tuning in today. If we helped you in any way, then click the subscribe button and let's keep hanging out together. We have so much more to share with you.
And if you need more information on actually making the switch for good, please visit us at switchforgood.org for loads of info. And you can subscribe to our mailing list where you will receive all sorts of super cool gifts, discount codes to our very fave dairy-free products, and a lifetime of powerful health tips.
So join us on the journey to switch for good. This is the future.